Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Patcast. I'm Pat, and the brand new video for Train's single Angel in Blue Jeans is out now. A few weeks ago, we went out to the desert along with our new friends Danny Trejo and Hannah Simone to film this video. Danny Trejo has been in a ton of movies, and you might know him as the character Machete. He's a bad dude and a great actor. He's played a lot of tough guys, and he has some experience with being a tough guy. He spent a bunch of years in jail before his acting career got started. I think he was in, what prison was he in? San Quentin. Oh, man, you got to be a bad dude to get through that. Hannah Simone, you might recognize from the television show New Girl. She plays Zooey Deschanel's beautiful and very funny friend in that show, and they were both great in our video shoot. Super lovely people and great at what they do. Didn't complain one time about anything. It was awesome, and it was really cool and fun for us to be around them. Train got to play the bad guys in it, and I am a crooked sheriff who tries to steal Danny Trejo's girl. Came right down to the wire. We were there from the time the sun came up to the time the sun went down, and that was when they got the very last shot of Danny riding his motorcycle off into the night. Go over to YouTube's Vivo channel to see it, and hope you guys enjoy watching it as much as we enjoyed filming it. It was a brutal, long day, and the director, Brendan Walter, really did a tremendous job. So thanks, Brendan, for putting all that time in. This week, we're finally back in California. Paso Robles. We'll be there on Thursday, and then on to State Line, Nevada, which is outside of Lake Tahoe. Salt Lake on Saturday. So come out and see us. Play some new stuff and some old stuff and some medium stuff and some stuff. You might hear some background music like we're at a restaurant or something, but we just got done with a show. A really great charity here on Long Island for this great research and hospital that's doing tremendous work that I think you'll read about and hear about soon. So you're hearing some celebrating in the background. Anyway, this week's new Patcast guest is my old friend, Mark McGrath. I ended up playing a lot of shows with Mark when both the bands were first starting out, and he has always, every time, and under any circumstances, been an extremely gracious and humble guy. He's nice to everybody, and it's really disarming how easy he is to be around. You might know Mark from his band Sugar Ray. They had a string of huge hits that launched them to the top of the pop charts and kept them there for a very long time. And things started to slow down a bit for Sugar Ray after that crazy ride, but Mark's strong work ethic never let him take a break. He got a gig as the host of Extra, which they came to him about, which was complicated for him, as you'll hear him explain in this interview, but definitely kept him in the public eye and only made him more famous and his band more famous. He went on to host several other TV shows, but eventually he had to come back and refocus on music. He started a tour with Everclear that was all about 90s nostalgia, but he and Art Alexakis had different ideas about how that tour should work, so we got into that a bit too in that interview. Now, he puts together a tour every summer himself, still with the bands that started in the 90s, and he really enjoys it, as do the fans. It's called the Under the Sun Tour, and it's actually on the road right now with Sugar Ray, Uncle Kracker, Smash Mouth, and Blues Traveler, all guys that we know and love. He also just starred in a brand new movie, which I talked to him about, and that will be out in just a couple of weeks. So this week on the Patcast, it's a conversation about being a 90s band and a now band, and how things have changed and what stayed the same, and how the surfer dude from Southern California became a huge pop star and still never let it go to his head, and how he's worked hard to keep a band going for decades. Never an easy task. It's Sugar Ray's Mark McGrath, our Irish guest on this week's Patcast.
What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking, looking at you. You got to get it while the getting is good. Laugh when you can, cry when you should. You got to give it till the giving is gone. Do what you can, then you move on. What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What
Are you rolling yet?
Yeah.
You are now.
Danny Trejo.
And you're sure it's
I love Danny Trejo.
You call him Trejo or Trejo?
Oh shit.
I don't know either because I don't want to mess
I'll
it up.
tell you this: as a Southern Californian and a man who's spent, is married to a Latina, I would say Trejo.
You would say Trejo.
Trejo, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you'd be offended if you led with that.
So I'm gonna just say Trejo because if I say Trejo,
yeah, you might.
I'm gonna sound like the
like an announcer when it goes, "Hi, I'm a
Nicaragua.
yeah.
When they just
I hate
overpronounce.
that."
So I just want to say that I told you this a couple years ago, or I'm going to just tell podcast listeners. I'm sitting here with my favorite person in the music business, and I mean that, man. And
says it
I'm
all
going
the time.
and I'm going to tell you why. When things were not great for me, I was living in Santa Monica, and this cover band with Dave Navarro asked me to come. They're called Camp Freddy.
That's correct.
They asked me to come over to sing some Zeppelin song with them. And everybody was so cool for school. It was so weird, and being around the whole LA vibe for me was really difficult. And you were on TV a lot at the time, and things were kind of good for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, they really were great. And because we all take turns,
Dude,
and you came
God
up to me
bless.
and you were like, "Man, great seeing you," and you gave me a big hug and you introduced yourself to my family and everything. And I was like, that fucking guy. And so anyway, I'm here with Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray and also from a lot of other amazing things. And I just want to say thank you, man. That meant a lot to me that night, and I tell people that all the time.
Pat, that warms my heart. And I was sitting there telling these Camp Freddy guys, wait till you see. You are so lucky that you've asked this guy to be a part of this, because now the legend's secure. Back then, Train had its run, and you were kind of in between. Can we do this again? And I was dumb enough to think, can we all do this again? Pat survived. You became a heritage band, a legacy band.
Well, then I read this
legacy
article.
band.
No, you busted me about the heritage thing because I mentioned on Stern
on
last
Stern.
week.
Yeah.
Let me rewind that. So we're on Stern, and Pat's got a bunch of hits on his belt. Now Trains, we do
So I became
amphitheaters
a
now,
huge
the rest of our
asshole.
belts. And he goes,
Yeah.
I just didn't want to be one of these heritage bands. And I'm like, dude, I didn't want to be one either. But at the same time, I'm so appreciative of being able to play a couple songs people remember from 20 years ago.
Man.
Let's be honest, I'm selling the N-word. Nostalgia, you know what I mean? But I'm still proud, dude. I used to move drywall. That sucked. That sucked real bad.
And he painted it.
Yeah, I was a house painter. You were drywall people
Then
are nuts.
Drywall. Why I loaded it. They wouldn't even let me even tack it. I would
Yeah.
just load the drywall, break all the sheets, and get fired half the jobs I was at because I was hungover, as you well know. My '90s routine back then, even went into the band, was pretty set in place. But to be a band that still gets to tour with these big packages, I just feel honored, Pat. And I was listening to you on Howard Stern, going, man, I'm so glad one of us got through and broke through and just, made it through. Because they don't let legacy bands happen anymore, dude. We all try to be a one-hit wonder, let's be honest. All we ever wanted was a one hit. Then it was, how quick do we get off this one-hit wonder ship? It's great playing shuffleboard with Kazu Goo Goo, but we got to get out of here.
But don't you think that times have changed a lot in the music world where there's the cool group that almost is like, we don't want a hit, fuck a hit, and then when they do have a hit, they're swept out, and then the next kid comes in to take over, like MGMT. I love that first record. It was amazing.
Well, the greatest.
I mean, 4 great songs on it, and then they almost are trying to dig themselves as deep down as they can, and I just don't get it. But
you know what that means to me, Pat?
No.
They didn't believe in themselves. It was like, it's like almost like a self-saboteur thing. Like, I don't know why we're here, so let's avoid all the controversy and make a record no one really cares, and it's hard to even attack because it's so hipster that it's anti-hipster.
Or because this is a question that I have.
But you know what I'm saying?
But this is a question I have about Radiohead and Pearl Jam too.
I'll talk to you all day about those bands.
Is it more that it's too hard to try and lose than it is to just not try and say, we don't give a shit anyway?
It's way easier to do the latter. Do you think the Rolling Stones ever didn't try for hits every record?
I mean, it seems like they did because they had 130 of them.
And how many failed records of the Rolling Stones? When was the last Rolling Stones hit you liked? I'm going to say it was Mixed Emotion, and that was 89 for me.
Or Waiting on a Friend.
Waiting on a Friend, you're going to 82 with Peter Tosh in that video. We're going way back. Does it mean I like the Rolling Stones any less? Does it mean their legacy's damaged anymore? Maybe a little bit, but at least they tried to make records.
They always tried, right?
You know, Pearl Jam's going, let's just defy the way the industry is. F Ticketmaster now. Really? No, you don't F Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster F's you with no Vaseline, as Ice Cube said. You know, so
with no Vaseline?
Yeah, you remember Ice Cube? Well, I was a kid from Newport Beach, and we thought we were tough, and we'd listen to Ice Cube.
I want to talk to you about that, too, because you started in Connecticut?
I actually was born in Hartford, Connecticut.
Okay. And then how long were you there?
I was there for 8 years. So enough to have a little bit of a roots, but not enough to say I was from there. You know, I was raised in Southern California.
And how did you go from, I mean, that's a pretty
big jump.
Yeah.
You know, my dad was watching the Rose Bowl every year while we're sitting there in 10-degree below weather, you know, a swirling snowstorm outside. We're watching the Rose Bowl. It's 80 degrees out here. And he goes, I got to get out there. It's sort of like a go west young man thing. And my dad always loved it.
And you and any other siblings at the time?
Yeah, my older sister. And so
you're 8, she's what, 10?
Yeah, she's 10. And, you know, at that point, you learned enough, but you don't know anything. You're still very impressionable. So when I moved out to California in '76, it was a reset on my whole childhood.
Right.
I'm a California now. I skate. The ice skates went away. You know what I mean? I remember my dad said, I played ice hockey because back in Connecticut, you start when you're 5, you know, and he goes, I got some good news and some bad news. The good news, I found a hockey league in Southern California. Now, this is the pre-Gretzky era, you know. He goes, the bad news is 3 hours away. So I think we're going to put the skates in the sticks away, Dad. And it kind of became a skate surf kid. You know, growing up in Newport Beach, you can't get away.
Can you surf pretty well? Are you good at it?
I would never say I'm very good, and I'm afraid of big waves. So there's a little bit of a rub there.
Yeah, me too.
If it's clean, 3 feet, 75 degrees, and I'm out at Waikiki, I'll be out there for 10 hours.
Oh, that's cool.
Any kind of toe condition, under toe conditions, or any rough water.
No shark fear.
Well, I'm in Sharknado too, dude. How would I have any shark?
Yeah, you get.
I don't want to brag.
How did that come up? Because man, this is Pergo.
I'm surprised I didn't ask you, Pat.
Pergo is very intrigued by this,
bro. We were on tour last year on the End of the Sun tour, and
which I want to talk about because it's I think it's a brilliant idea.
Well, hopefully you'll never be on it.
I'd love to be on it. Let me host the next boat trip.
That would be great. That would actually be great. And obviously,
I'm just looking for more reasons to go down on a boat because we do a boat trip.
I know you have to train.
It's like 4 days of a drunkenness beyond belief. Is it like that on yours?
For you, Pat? Because I went on the Kid Rock. We went on the Kid Rock cruise a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
he can't leave his room.
Oh, but he does.
He does.
That's part of why
Pat left his room a lot.
But you know what? You kind of have to do that if you're going to make that commitment to the fans. Like, it's about shaking hands and saying thank you.
Pat had a room.
But see, I was like, hey, can I crash in you? But I think maybe why I like you so well is because my dad is this super Irish guy, and he just wanted me to treat everybody with the love that you're talking about, because your responsibility as who you are. Like, you wanted it, now go take care of it, kind of thing. And you told me that one night. You were like, well, I guess I'm Irish and that's the way it goes. Did you have that same kind of belief in your house? Like, hey, this is the way we treat people?
You know, every waiter or waitress, it was a thank you. It was an honor to ever be served. It was a treat others how you'd like to be treated. It was being spoken. I mean, I'm a spaz, but like with an eloquent sort of manner. You know, I used to have to answer the telephone. I can still remember. Hello, this is Mark McGrath. Who is it speaking, please? That's how I would answer the phone
at your house?
Own home.
How do you do
Until I
it?
was 18, I did that, dudes, you know? And so, I mean, there was a real respect issue that my mom and dad instilled on me before any music or anything. And that's just a human quality. Yeah. And you know what? You know what's strange? Be nice to people. It goes a long way. I still have a uniform in Hollywood because
who gives a shit how far it takes you? It's the right thing to do.
That too. You know how much harder it is to be mean to people and be, you know, like, why am I going to ruin my day?
I do my best.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but I'm doing my best.
You're a liar, Pat. You can't BS me. So I don't know. And for me in particular, as a guy who wasn't born with a voice like Pavarotti, we had to learn to write songs. I mean, I wanted to be in a band because I saw David Lee Roth jump off a monitor, Panama, 1984, and I found out
live or on TV?
On live, like the Unchained video. Remember that video?
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world. And that was just when I found out I was going to be point guard for the Lakers. You know, I had
Right.
2 dream jobs and I go, that looks rad. Oh,
Yeah.
can't sing, can't write songs. Going to be a problem.
And I can't
But it's
jump.
doable. Yeah, I can't jump either, too. So actually, I got pretty good at those like splits. But so I just feel so fortunate to be here, Pat.
Yeah.
You know, I've done some other things, hosting TV, things I don't do very well either. I've been
But I
overpaid
think
for
you
all
really
of them.
do them well.
Well, that's nice of you to say. You know, it was funny when I got the job at Extra. It took a while to get used to the subtleties of television. You know, we're on stage. It's you want to hit the last guy and the
How did
last
you
row.
ever even audition for that?
I didn't. That's the crazy thing. If I auditioned, they wouldn't have given me a job. Believe me.
So they were like, "Hey, man, we got a gig for you."
You know, back in the 90s, if you could chew gum, which I'm doing now, which I shouldn't be doing, if you could, if you could like chew gum, read the monitor back in the day, they'd let you host, the MTV Music Awards, the World Music Awards. And I got to do a few of those. And I guess, people were sort of, oh, he's all right. He's decent. At least he's, Steve Jenkins won't do it. Let's get Mark McGrath to do it, that kind of thing. And then through those things, one of the executive producers at Extra saw me and literally said, I want to offer you this job as the host of Extra.
Wow.
No idea what it meant. Now, our last record in 2003 was going, Calling All the Angels was going ascending, Sugar Ray was descending. I'm like, okay, our fraternity of bands is getting out of here. The Smash Mouth, the Everclears, the tone of radio, the landscape was changing. Interpol, the Strokes.
And you were smart enough to look at it and go, okay, I'm gonna take a look around and see what's next, instead of no, not me, and then fight to start blaming your label and everything else.
My self-awareness is almost my greatest attribute, my biggest detractor.
Your biggest fault, yeah.
Well, it is, because I'm the first guy to take him out of the game. Oh, it's done, it's over, and that's it. And the writing was kind of on the wall, though. They weren't playing our bands unless you had incredible classic songs like you guys did, And we're able to keep writing them.
Too much credit, but I
keep
appreciate
writing them, though. I was there. You can't rewrite history. I'm just telling you history and how I got to Extra. If our last record had sold 10 million copies, I'd be like, we all trying to be Aerosmith and U2.
Right.
We tried our damnedest. You guys are still doing it. You know what I mean? So that's why I got the job at Extra. I literally went and took a meeting on a Friday, and 2 weeks later I was hosting the show, having no idea what was going to happen. I didn't know there was interviews involved. I thought you just went in and went, hey, the stars were out in Hollywood last night. You know what I mean? That's all I thought. I could do that. And when I saw Al Pacino, American icon, one of my favorite actors in the world, and Kevin and Brittany had just broken up.
Right.
Now, this is Extra. They want to know about Paris Hilton, Lindsay, Brittany, and all that stuff. And I'm seeing this glorious man, this idol of mine, walking down the red carpet. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to hit him with the Kevin and Brittany question. Had to do it.
Oh my God.
Had to do it. This Al Pacino, he's walking down. Like, I have to do it. Talked about some things about the movie I knew they would never put in Extra. And they went, okay, Al, I got to ask, it's in the news a lot lately. Kevin and Brittany broke up. What do you think about this?
Yeah, what do you say?
He looks at me and goes, you're better than that. And walked away. And a little bit of me died that day, Pat. You know what I'm saying, bro? A little bit of me died. And I just went, all right, man. I was happy to host it. It was the interview.
I'm so sad. Just let me have a moment.
I know.
Oh my God.
It's so tough.
How did you recover?
You know what? I still can't articulate how I feel about it. It's something I never recovered from because, at Extra, they asked me to stay on, and I was there for 4 years. And I just said, guys, I'm just not your guy. I'm not the guy that rolls through the Rolodex for the Tom Cruise hustle to get out there and get on the set. And there's a real hustle and a publicist game played there that I didn't know about, especially when you get into that host position. The Billy Bushes of the world, the Mario Lopez's, they are great at what they do.
And they'll cut you. I mean, they will shiv you in the kidneys.
Well, Mario Lopez will beat you up physically.
Oh, yeah.
He's a great boxer.
All of them. They're all like, man, great to see you. If you fuck with me, I will kill you. Like, it's really like that, right?
It's cutthroat. I mean, that business is only based on how topical you are and what have you done for me lately. So having the greatest story and maybe the most salacious, but they do cover it with a little bit of respect. I mean, they are on major networks. It's not like you're throwing just some blog up there that's not fact checked. And there's sort of there is a dynamic between all the publicists that everybody kind of, it's a little sterile in the fact that everybody kind of wants to play ball and play nice in the sandbox with everybody. So it's not too aggressive or salacious, but but it's the things they want to hit was the things they had the problem with. I mean, Brittany, Kevin, and Lindsay, and Paris, and people will come up to me in the street and go, "Why do you talk about these three all day?" And they go, "Well, it's not like we sit around and go, let's make it Todd Bridges week next week and lay this on everybody." It's a supply and demand business. That's what people wanted to hear. You know,
but it's so sad to see that, you know, the world of television and journalism is as simple as the food business. Like, if you make hamburgers like McDonald's, and you know they're not very good, but man, we think we can sell a zillion of them. It's kind of like that.
We're going to sell a zillion of them.
It's almost sad, but if Al Pacino would have said that to me, first of all, I would have killed him. I would have stabbed him with the microphone in the neck.
That's still not your personality, and that's like I would like to have done that too.
And then I would have killed myself because what he said to me.
As an Irishman, that you would have done.
Now that's good TV.
Yeah, it would have been like, Al, here's what's going to happen. We're both going to die right now.
Thanks for the moment,
because
Al.
you hurt me to the place where I can't come back, and now I got to take you with me.
It's funny you say that, Pat. You know, like I tell people, a little bit of me died that day. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to do my job, and
like what? There's a million different things that would have been like, fuck Al Pacino, but that one is just like tough.
It was tough. And it happened a lot with people, and it kind of pissed me off because, look, I'm just doing a job.
Yeah,
and here's the thing. Just say something stupid and let's get out of here. I want to leave, too.
Yeah.
You're not doing me a favor.
Right.
You know, let's just get it over with, Tobey Maguire. You know, I don't want to talk to you either, man. Let's go and go home.
Oh,
you know, I'm not trying to forward I'm happy to be here, but I got my day job. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of, it's just a real hustle now.
Is it, what do you think you're best at? Like,
bullshit,
of all of this,
bullshitting people.
Man, that's what
you know what I'm saying.
People
dude?
would tell me all the time. They're like, "Man, you got the bullshit gift from straight from Ireland." That's
but dude, you can't say that to a bullshitter. I made a career with no talent. You are one of the best singers in rock and roll.
No, dude.
No.
See,
let's stop there. This is my podcast.
How much?
You know what I'm saying?
Leave.
I mean, you can't use my shit on me, Pat. He's using the thing on me.
Man, play him some of the songs that I think. Like, he's saying he's a talentless. I want you to hear something.
Okay.
I'm going to try to get through these.
Just I want you to hear something.
How's that for going?
Shut the door, baby. Don't say a word.
Every morning there's a heartache hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's four-post bed. I know it's not mine, and I know she thinks she loves me, but I never can believe what she said.
Beautiful.
Someday you'll understand,
Like,
how to work it out.
that
See, you know
shit
what's
is
scary,
insane, man.
As we do that a key, of course we tuned down.
Did you-
I haven't heard it in that.
Did you have
beautiful
anything
open
to
key.
do with writing that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well then you're an
Great
asshole
tune,
for
man.
saying you're
Great
talentless.
tune.
Well,
Okay,
here's the thing. Oh
no, here. What's my favorite? This is the jam, dude.
some other guys there.
Go ahead.
All around,
Okay, you want to hit it? Okay.
It's an open tune.
all around the world, statues crumble for me. Who knows how long I've loved?
Wait.
Who knows how long I've loved you?
Right?
You're overthinking it
I'll
because
start
I wrote it.
overthinking
It's all easy phrasing, open chords.
I'll
Don't
do a little
overthink
quiet.
them, Pat.
And then he's underthinking it. But my point is that
Sorry.
these songs are so big and they live so deep. Like, everybody knows these songs, man.
That's what is great, dude. When you have a #1 songs, which those two were,
I've
but who's
never had-
counting?
Like, these are #1 pop songs.
They were two #1
I've
pop songs.
never had a #1 pop song
You see, I heard
ever.
you say that on Stern, and it took my breath away.
3.
Drops of Jupiter?
Number 3, Drops of Jupiter. I think Soul Sister was number 2 or 4.
Oh, there's no way it was 4. There's no way.
Maybe it got
What
to
was
number 2.
what was keeping out of 1? Michael Jackson?
Alicia Keys
Yeah.
kept Drops of Jupiter out,
Gotcha.
and with Soul Sister, I don't remember him.
Was it that Adam Levine character?
That guy.
That guy.
I
Talk
hate
about a
guys that
shiv.
do everything right, don't you?
know,
talk
You're
about
so
a shiv.
annoying.
You are so much better looking than him.
Now I know you are Irish.
No,
dude. I
'cause
saw that
I'm-
guy the other day with the blonde hair, and I got locked in his eyes like if Prince was looking at me. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're so beautiful. And the funniest thing about Maroon 5, they opened. Get this, Bill. Back in 2003, it was Matchbox 20, Sugar Ray, and Maroon 5.
Wow.
And every night I come on stage and have to apologize for us coming on stage. I'd go, and I would say in 6 months these guys are gonna be the biggest band
that's
in the
cool.
country. It was 3 months later. 3 months later.
You know, that's the terrible thing about you. Your self deprecation is your best quality.
My best talent.
It's your best quality because
I found something.
because like you know, I read this, but it's terrible that you do it. Like I'm familiar with it, but like I read this article that you talked to Rolling Stone, and you said, I know why people don't like me, and I just think, fuck those people. Like, it's probably easier for me to say because I know you and you know you, but I know you from a place where I've just watched you do great work. You've
Thank you,
always done great work.
Thank
You've
you.
always treated everyone with respect. If anybody's going to hate on that, they're either bored or they hate themselves and they have to lash out at somebody because they don't know how to deal with it. And, you know, but that's what the internet is for.
Right.
But like what you've done is so commendable, and I just want to talk about the work that you've done that is why people should respect it instead of, you know, diss whatever they think is uncool, because there's nothing uncool about it.
Like,
Well,
you know, the
I-
highlights, dude. I mean, I led with the highlights in the
No, but
90s. I mean, come on.
Why? Well, hold on a second. Like, I color my hair because if I didn't, I would have been gray when Meet Virginia was out. And so
You're preaching to the
my wife says to me, wait a minute, why are you any different than girls? They're allowed to do it all day and you're not. So girls are allowed to have highlights, but Mark McGrath can't. Like, forget that shit. That's not douchey. What else you got?
Well, no, but that was, and like, God, you know, and I'm also like, I don't think I'm the most talented guy in the world, and like, boy, I look at these bands today, and everybody's lip syncing, and everybody's multi-tracking. I go, if there's
Maybe
one guy,
I am the most talented guy in the world
but
when
I'm
you
saying,
start
if
seeing
there's one
that.
guy that should be using all these tricks, it's me. I'd still have a valuable career if I had, because I thought people cared.
Right.
People care if you don't lip sync. Like you know, I've never been hitting notes perfectly. I run around the stage. I'm happy to be there, and that's my thing. It's what I do. But like, I went and I'm not going to name some bands, but like, there wasn't a live instrument on the stage, and I'm like, well, surely everybody's going to boo after this. Loud, giant, you know, they don't care. Today's audience does not care, Pat.
Right.
And like, band like you guys that plays live, it's almost an archaic proposition.
And you would back when we started, it would have been, of course you have to do it that way. That's the only way to be a credible anything.
Oh, you
look
would've
what happened to Milli Vanilli, and
Sure.
who knew that it would turn to be the opposite.
Yeah.
That is such a good insight you said right there, because I think we were all sort of living that Milli Vanilli fraudulence. You know, we wouldn't even think of running backing tracks, or like now people just straight up have dats of everything, and you know we'll double the vocal when we want to, but we'll lay back.
Sure.
You know, and we you know, just to show you this where the band the status of the band is, we did a private show with New Edition last weekend. Okay?
Wow.
Half a New Edition. And they come out and they have all these incredible songs which I love. And it's all just tracked. And, you know, Bobby Brown goes out and sings a verse if he wants to. And Ralph
You know
Tresvant
why he
goes-
does it that way? Because it's his prerogative.
Come on.
I had to. I am so
But you know, every little
sorry.
step he took was
I'm
perfect.
so sorry.
I had to take your thing.
And so, dude,
but no one cared.
Nobody gives
And
a
they
shit.
preferred it. Like if all those giant backing harmonies were in there, the audience would have been pissed off.
Man.
So I got to rethink my rethink, if you know what I'm thinking. You know, because I just think that, like, I mean, if one guy needs to have the backing tracks and all that stuff, it's me. And I think that was a lot of the tech. Like,
You're
and our
so
band
funny.
used, you know, we got ascended too high to a place that our talent wasn't there yet. You know, we started becoming better songwriters, and like naturally touring
But
makes
that's
you better
the way
players.
it was supposed to be.
But most people, it's weird. You know,
And is that what kind of made people leave the band, or did you ask them to leave?
No, that's you know, of course, you know, things on the internet get weird, and everybody has their own story. But two guys left the band and decided to instigate legal action against us. You know, so we are here right now in the process. Well, it's all in the courts, bro. So
so you have to be careful about how much you talk about it.
I can't say much about it. I don't want to say much about it.
Can I just? I'm just going to throw out my opinion of all of it.
Sure.
Okay. This is not you talking. This is definitely me. I've never heard this story. I did not know that you had two guys doing this. You and your guitar player are still together, right? The guy who wrote those riffs?
Yeah. I mean, there was three main songwriters in Sugar Ray.
Okay.
It was me, the guitar player, and the drummer.
Okay. I'm just going to throw this out there. I think the guys suing you are terrible motherless assholes. And I think that's just my thought. I think you did everything right, and they are trying to take advantage of your good nature, and you're a decent human being, and you treat people right, and you're a talented guy. And I'm gonna sit. I hope that I'm elected. I hope I'm part of the jury. Because the first thing I'm going to do is say, no, I have no bias at all. But that fucking guy's a liar. That's what I'm going to say. So,
well, you know, of all the years to make a sort of cash grab on Sugar Ray, let me pick the year 2011 when we grossed the least amount of money we've ever grossed. When I worked my butt off to double the gross of the band by putting this Under the Sun tour together. That, you know, so yeah, that was my money play there.
That's amazing,
What
man.
a smart move there.
I don't know if those kind of trials actually go to a jury, but our drummer is a lawyer, so if you need some help,
I heard about that.
Yeah,
which is so wild.
He's willing to work for you for nothing because we pay him great.
Now, I know you. I heard you're hungry. No one works harder than you, Pat. And I heard you say it in Stern. It's very inspirational. And that's, you know, that and your incredible talent and one of the best vocals in the world, blah, blah, that little thing. But that's what's kept you, here still. And the songwriting ability. And it's great because people wanted to kick Train's ass out of there.
Oh,
they were
man.
tired of you.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that it's so fun to watch Sugar Ray or Train or Matchbox 20 disappear? Why is it?
Well, it's the whole Mike Tyson thing. We love to build them up. We love to see them fall. Because everybody hates their own lives.
Is it just
Train,
a human?
too much? Am I saying too much? No. I mean, it's like, you know, we hate ourselves. I hate my wife. I'm going to hate Train. I'm going to hate Matchbox 22. I'm going to put some poison out on the internet and just see if they, you know, I see a little kick in the armor there. Train's last record didn't sell as much as the one before, or Matchbox 20 didn't. Let's get them now. You know, that is human nature. And unfortunately,
do you have it in you? I think I have it in me.
I'm going to say I definitely have it in me.
Because when I'm watching the World Cup, I kind of want the underdog to win every time. And then when the underdog wins, I hate him. I want him dead. I want everybody dead.
How dare you? But no, that U.S. that broke that.
How dare you?
How dare you win and make me happy? Now I
hate you. Yeah, there's like I wish that I didn't have I don't want to lash out at people on the internet because I'm too busy.
I hear you.
But I do have the same.
Have you ever made a comment on the internet? Like, I don't know a friend in the world who's ever made it. Who are these people that make comments? I mean, I'm talking unemployed friends who don't make comments on the internet. You know, so like, what you got to understand, it's a small minority, but it is a loud minority now. I'll see 100 things. Hey, Mark, great. You know, thanks for the songs. And Bob, I think you're great. And I'll say, you're the biggest douche ever. And it'll ruin my day.
Yep.
And I'm sorry.
It's in Irish pink highlights.
Right. And act like it doesn't. I don't care, dude. Hey, I'm a douche. And I want it back. And like, hey, I know I'm kook. And that's all I got to respond to.
Did I tell you what I just announced it on the last podcast what my new Twitter gag is.
No.
Which is, I'm attracted to the hate.
Yeah, of course.
I just don't know why. 3,000, man, you guys are amazings. And I go like, that's awesome. But man, the hate is the one I go to. So I've learned that if I retweet with comment, but I change what they tweeted to say something really nice, they don't like it. And then I go, thanks, dude. That's awesome. Because it's like, you guys are the worst. You make me want to rip my ears off. And I'll change it to, you make my ears so happy.
How do you do that? Because I thought you couldn't retweet that once you, like, if you put quote tweet, right?
No, you go retweet with comment, right? So their tweet comes up, and then you just change their tweet.
I didn't know you could do It's
and then when
amazing.
you send it, it goes back to them, and they go like,
Oh,
"Oh, I hate you, Train. I hate you."
What I have done, because what they want to do is do the retweet from you if you respond, right?
Right.
What I have done in the past is went, wow, it's so good to hear how much our music means to you, bro. You know what I mean? I'm glad to hear you still have our poster on the wall. And then I'll retweet it back to him. And so I didn't know he could change that, though. So he probably did, as opposed to like, because usually if you go, you asshole, blah, 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 they want to retweet that. Go, look, I got him. Then all their
Right.
friends get in on it because they know you responded to him.
Oh, you think you're a douche? Oh,
Yeah,
he's the real douche.
exactly.
Yeah, so that's the new trick, man. You got to try
I
it
didn't
out.
know you could change the language in a tweet. I thought it was protected. Once you did that, you couldn't retweet it, you know?
This one guy even wrote me afterwards and said, Train just made me look like an asshole. You win this. You win this round.
So just, I'm boring the listeners, but you hit retweet,
Yep.
and then you can just eliminate the words in there.
You change the words.
Why not just
And
erase
then-
the whole thing? And then hit,
Yes. Yes.
where's
Do
this
it.
been? Oh my God.
Virgo the other day goes, somebody reads it back to themselves and goes, man, my Twitter's broken. I sent them hate. This is terrible. Sarah. So
That's the greatest thing I've ever
yeah,
heard.
it's so fun because there's a way to do it if you want to spend the time. But
I
here's,
do.
here's the thing
And
that
I
your
have been.
Well, here's the thing that your fans don't want. It's like, hey man, we love you all day.
point.
Pay attention to us.
Good point.
And so you have to be careful not to do it too often.
Good point. And they don't deserve, the fans don't deserve it. What I do is respond to I'll respond to every good tweet. I mean, thank you very much. That is getting back to the good in me. I see
Yeah.
the bad and it bothers me.
Right.
And the good I do respond to. Hey, you guys, great show last night. It meant the world. I mean, thank you so much,
Totally.
bro. Hit them with their name because they love to hear their name back in it. And that's something that, it's getting back to the Irish respect thing.
So what inspired you to, what was the music? David Lee Roth? Was it, I just
Sex Pistols.
Really?
Sex Pistols, when I first
Because
saw...
these guys remember Green Machine as being like, that's
Mean-
the jam.
Mean Machine.
Mean Machine,
Mean
He
Machine.
does remember that, yeah.
Because my tour manager mentioned it too.
Yeah.
In a totally different conversation. Like, that was the song that people were like, that's the jam right there.
It's funny to play that song in between like Fly and Every Morning.
that's what I
which we
mean.
still play because we got to fill a set.
What happened?
Well, we got better as musicians. I love the Beach Boys. I love the Beatles. I love Slayer and I love Cannibal Corpse and everything
Wow.
in between. And
That's a problem.
Well, it is a problem, especially my iPod when it's on random and having a party. You know what I'm saying? People are like, God only knows, in to kill them all twice. People are like, I'm leaving. Give me my coats.
Kill them all twice?
Yeah, it was a good
Is the
Cannibal
name
Corpse
of a-
song. I think
Wow,
it was.
that's
I think it was
a-
in Ace Ventura. But the Sex Pistols were the band that I saw was like, and it's kind of cliched to say, but it was one of those bands anybody can get up there and do it. If
Right.
you have the balls to get on stage and the will, you can do it. And that's kind of what inspired me. So I went to that whole 77 punk thing, the Clash, the Pistols, and the Ramones. Let's be honest, we all learned to play guitar through the Ramones records. At least I did. So those were the songs. We started off as a cover band. We were a straight up cover band and used to play in clubs down in Newport Beach. And just as the tail end of the metal thing was happening here in LA, we got on that train hardcore. We thought we were Faster Pussycat or LA Guns. We were on the cover of Rock City News back in '89.
that's cool, man.
Like, hey, the new metal hopefuls, So we were really trying. But back then, you had to be a good musician. They wouldn't just let any crappy band through the door.
Sounds like you're, I think you bag yourself, but like I love your vocals, and I think your guitar player writes great riffs, man.
He played reggae bands his whole life.
I mean, that whole thing is such a good vibe. It's like there were three bands that I think really knew how to capitalize on like pop reggae,
Right.
And that was
Sublime, of course.
No Doubt,
Yeah,
Sublime, and Sugar Ray.
Well, we're probably the stepchild of that whole triad right there.
I don't think so,
Sublime is the
man.
one that sort of when a comedian figures out how to do impression, like Jay Moore figured out how to do Christopher Walken.
Right.
They break the code, then everybody jumps in.
Yeah.
Sublime was the band with the help from David Kahne, who produced all our records as well, found out how to put that hip hop rock beach thing
did he
all together.
produce your records
Every
because
hit
it
you've
was
heard.
like a Southern California thing?
No, he came from his first he came from Walk Like an Egyptian Bangles.
really?
He did those. And his first was a San Francisco band called Translator.
Wow,
You're
I don't even know
everywhere
them. Do
that
you know them?
I'm
Yeah, I've
not.
heard of them. Yeah,
Old
yeah,
school,
yeah,
like
yeah.
60s revivalist. That was his first thing. So he did that. And Fishbone. He came from Fishbone
Yeah.
as well. And he was an executive at Columbia Records. He knew his thing. He had a real scientific approach to music. And back then, we needed a taskmaster. We take songs 60, 70, 80% of the way, but we needed arrangement help. We didn't have a bridge here. We didn't have the sonic qualities. And Sublime, ironically, in retrospect, was very much like that as well, too, because Bradley would just do these long Gregory Isaacs Burning Spears jams. And he would just sit there all like high and just play these jams.
Were
And
you
Dave-
friends with those guys?
I knew them. You know, it's very cool to say you were friends with them back then, but we'd be on same bills in Orange County.
Yeah, that's
but
cool.
No, our worlds never really collided after the gig.
Were you always approachable? Even back then, or did
I
you?
would think so. You know, this thing that I've cultivated to be hard to fabricate. You know, I grew up on the beaches in Newport Beach. I love my mom and dad, rest her soul, both of them. I've had hard, things come my way, but
In Fly, did your mom, had she passed away when you wrote that?
No.
Because
No.
I remember you were on Stern and he asked you that and he was like, two things. One is, I hate that you're so attractive. And the second thing is, what the fuck are you talking about? Your mom is still
Right.
alive. And you were like, I know, but it sounded real good.
It fit real good, and I start a lot of my lyrics. I like to make tributes to maybe songs of the past that I used to love. Gilbert O'Sullivan, 65 years old. My mother, God rest her soul, was the only man she had.
Wow,
Remember
right.
that?
Yeah.
That comes right from that.
Is that Alone Again?
Alone Again, naturally.
Naturally,
The
yeah.
dentist chair hits of the 70s, you know? I love that song to this day with everything in my being. So whenever I was stuck for a lyric or something, I would just think back to then and I go, ooh, that's good. In fact, David Kahne, when he came to hear us rehearse, he goes, I hate all your songs. He was very black and white. I've got another funny story about that. He goes, but at 65 years, at 25 years old, mother, God rest her soul. He goes, that one note you're hitting at the bottom of there will sell 2 million records. Now, I'm a guy back then that was like screaming. My first record, Lemonade and Brownies, with Mean Machine on it, was thrash screaming. I was singing falsetto. We were the Beastie Boys without any talent. You know, we were just doing all these weird sort of grooves, but you know what I mean? We were. And something, thank God, David Kahne saw Diamond in the Rough. And I remember I was going in to sing Fly. Now, this is our second shot at Atlantic Records, and this song is everything's hinging on. Our careers, our lives, everything. And Fly's it, and we think we got something hot here and something that radio might embrace. Now, I'm about to go sing this thing, and I've never sang a song with any emotion or a real lyric. Everything was like, Mean Machine, grab some beer, grab her boobs, and all that. You know? It was amazing we got that far. He goes to me, I'm about to sing Fly. He goes, Mark, I got some good news and some bad news again. He goes, the bad news is he can't sing. This came out of his mouth. I'm about to try and sing Fly. He goes, the good news is, and I've made some #1 songs before, when you stay in your lane, you have a tone in your voice, which you mentioned earlier, Pat, that people are going to want to hear, and I think you can have a hit. It's all I needed. It was like just a little bit of a window of some guy who did it before that says, I think we can do it. And if you trust in me, we can do it. I mean, that's how involved David Kahne was and is in the success of the Sugar Ray singles.
Man, please never let him become a coach. like, can you imagine that speech before the World Cup? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what the American coach did.
He said
We
we're
can't
not
beat
gonna
you.
Yeah, I got one piece of news for you.
not gonna
We
win.
ain't winning this thing.
He said, the only team we can't beat is Germany.
Wait a minute, the coach is David Kahne. Anyway, that sounds like
But Pat, we needed that then. Because we were a band running around. We didn't know what to do. And we had bits and pieces of things that were great.
So you needed like a little bit of like wisdom.
A taskmaster is what we needed. A guy that said, you can't, I'm not even listening to your drums, out of here.
Really?
I'm not even having you play.
Whoa!
Sorry.
And what was
if you're
the
going to try and
drummer?
go home, I don't care. I do this for a living, and I need to do what's best.
And what wasn't he like? Hey, let's come together on this because I'm the drummer.
Not
and
us, because this is our last shot. We're like, go have a beer, man. Enjoy the bar.
Really?
Oh, dude, we were.
So
at
he
this
got
point
the-
we had surrendered. We
He
tried
played
our
on
way.
the other parts of the record, but not this song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did Josh Freese play on it? He played on everything.
Josh Freese played on our one of our last records. Josh, great friend of mine, and he's actually now at Camp Freddy, which has become Royal Machines now.
Yeah.
And Josh is the drummer of that. So
He's a
Pat, now that
ridiculous
I've got
drummer.
you, I'm going to bother you now and get you back in there because they loved having you. And
Everybody's so good in that band. But anyway, I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, but and also what you were saying is like, I'm self-effacing, blah blah blah. I'm really really proud of these 4 giant hits we wrote, and I say giant with no, not with no ego, just because I'm the first guy to break me down, and it's the reason why we're still doing it today. I'm so fortunate to be part of these glorious things, and the older I get, and the farther I get away from the hysteria and the surrealness and the not realness of what was the '90s and selling millions of records, and now I live with this thing down the songwriter and the voice of these things. It means the world to me. It's so precious, and I'm very proud of them. 4 top 10s. I'm done. Thank you. I'll leave that to Train to have the rest of the hits,
But that, man.
But you know what I'm saying, Pat? And it was funny when I heard you say the heritage thing on Stern. I'm like, it made me proud that you were doing it. You know what I'm saying?
My fear isn't that it will happen, because I know it will happen. But like, for instance, this record, there's a couple of things that happen. When I started writing this record, it was for fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I'm going to spend 2, maybe 3 years, and I'm going to try to make my pet sounds.
Gotcha.
It might be weird. It might be fun. There might be 2 songs worth listening to and 19 bad ones. I don't really know, but I'm going to take my time.
But I'm doing it for me.
Right.
And was this a Train record originally?
This is a Train record.
Okay.
So once I start, then everybody's like, whoa, that shit sounds real good. How soon can we get the shit out?
Right.
And then I go like, wait a minute. I'm going to start drinking and smoking pot.
Which you did.
Because I don't know how to handle this pressure.
17 years later.
That's what happened. And so
You're at your peak of smoking pot and drinking now?
I'm at my peak.
I love you.
I'm
You
not
are a
peaking.
rock star.
I'm not peaking right now. But I took 17 years off of,
Right.
and like that was my world. I built everything off of sobriety, and that's not why I started doing it. But I reached a point where I was like, wait a minute, I'm scared.
You're feeling the pressure of being the business
Because
again.
if I don't do this, if I don't make this work, then people are going to be unemployed. I'm scared because if I take any time off, I'm 45 years old.
Yeah.
2 months is a lifetime at this point. Like Bon Jovi's starting to wear suits. Like, that scares me.
That scares me.
Because that means that I'm wearing suits in 7 more years or whatever. And so, like, everything is scaring me. So I start, like, stressing out and writing and never being home. And just, like, everything was stress. And so that's why all of this pressure that I put on myself, and then if this record doesn't do well, that's incredibly disappointing to me.
Sure.
And I got to figure out how to deal with it, because that day is going to come, whether it's this record or the next record or the one after that. The day is going to come where people go, thanks, man, you did great, but we're going to move on now.
Pat, it already came, and you survived.
It's going to come again.
No, but like, you don't get a second shot at this. And my point is, they let you back in. You know what I'm saying? I was in the party. I was the drunkest fool in the party. They kicked my ass out of the party. And a couple years later, I went, hey, I'm cool now. They didn't let me back in. You're in there with the Stones, bro. You're in there now with the Aerosmiths of the world. And, like, you're safe. What the bummer is now, what I hear you saying is, no one's selling records but you guys on your label. Now, that must be a big, giant burden, because guess what? People are going to lose their jobs if you don't do well. And that sucks. That's almost too much to hear.
It's not just the label, but it's like we tour a lot, and we rely on people caring about our music to tour.
Oh, sure.
Like, we can't, like right now, there's a couple of new charts, and I want to talk to you about this, because when you and I started, our charts were charts.
Yeah.
You go to Billboard, and we didn't have cell phones. I don't know if you remember back then.
Remember
but-
Radio and Records? That was the report.
Yeah,
Remember
Radio
that?
and
Like,
Records.
That was the Bible.
Remember Smoke Signals?
Oh, God. You kidding
I'm
me?
kidding. We didn't. That was a little bit before
That was
us.
in 95. Yeah, that was Mean Machine days.
1795.
And so the chart now is different stuff, like Spotify streaming.
Ugh.
And also the new chart that I pay attention to is Shazam. If you see your record being Shazammed a lot, it means people care.
How do you?
'Cause
That's a whole new thing.
Oh, it's a whole new thing,
But you
dude.
signed a record deal before digital concerns. Am I correct?
Yes, and this is far beyond iTunes. Like, iTunes
It's nothing now.
is like carving into stone at this point. So, because of where we started and where things are now, like, what?
This podcast is brought to you by iTunes.
It really is. I'm
actually,
so
it is.
sorry. I feel terrible. But no, but like that's just the truth, and of course they make a huge impression still on the world. But hey, man, people are streaming music. Like that's why they got into iTunes Radio. Like they're no dummies. They see the writing on the wall, just like everything else. No one is going to ever buy music. Why would you? Here's my $3 a year. Give me everything I want.
Of course.
And so,
and by the way, don't you do that?
of course I
do that. You know what I mean? I mean, and you're still part of the old monster, so to speak. You know, but it's. What means the most now to you in terms of releasing a record? I can't believe I don't even know this anymore. I used to be involved in this. What is the one thing that they?
Well, here's the thing.
Because there's no VH1 worries. There's no MTV worries.
I talked to my managers about this a lot because I'm scared right now about our single because I don't see it do what Bruno Mars and Maroon 5 singles do.
How about what singles?
But
what about Drive By and
their
what?
fans are different.
Right.
They're very young. When Soul Sister came out, it wasn't visible on iTunes for 4 months. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a good chance it was just going to get dropped from radio because it wasn't performing and it wasn't getting any call out, and people didn't like it. The research was bad.
What was the thing that put it over the top?
Time.
Yeah.
Really? They don't do that anymore.
Because the radio, my record staff at Columbia Records is so good that they were like, please trust me.
They believe
it's gonna go. And then once it went over the hump, it was
out of here. It had more legs, and
then because we still had momentum, Drive By was a up thing that it did way better than So now we have this single that I fear isn't working, but when I talk to my managers, they're like, dude, this is amazing. Like, things are going crazy good. But when I see, Maroon 5 single go to #1 on iTunes, I get stressed. He's got a TV show.
That's what I'm saying. It's not organically going there.
Right. And
it's got to stay there. I mean, it's like a rap record. You know what I mean? They opened up one, they dropped out of 200 the next week.
It's a great
No Limit thing.
It's a great song, and Ryan Tedder, who I think worked on it with those guys, is an amazing writer.
Yeah.
And they just know how to do it. So you have to give them kudos.
He's cracked the code.
But I guess what my guys are telling me is you are comparing yourself to something you can't. Like, if you want to compare yourself to something, then you have to go over here.
Yeah.
And you're winning. So just
How about that you're considered in the pop world, Train? Are you kidding me?
I think that's...
I mean, let's not... I mean,
that's exactly what they're saying.
Matchbox 20's out of there now.
But
they're not considered.
Don't you think you could do it again, though?
I'm dumb enough to think I can, and I'll tell you why. Because I thought I could do it once, Now, I don't know if Sugar Ray will be the vehicle. In fact, I can guarantee you Sugar Ray wouldn't be the vehicle. What I am looking forward to doing, I'm doing right now, I'm going to put out a Mark McGrath EP on iTunes. and you never know, dude. And like, I'm a songwriter. It's what I do. I write pieces of songs. And, I've never written a song by myself that's been worth anything. But I've written pieces, and I'm really back to, like, thinking about songwriting. So you never know. It's a long shot, dude. But if I didn't believe in myself, what am I going to tell you? No. I'm the first guy to be self-effacing, as you know. And you kind of inspire me, not the fact that there's anywhere the near a caliber of talent, but the fact that you guys did it against incredible odds because you had a great song. And a great song can still survive.
But my favorite part of this new album of Trains is if it does well, it's not just a hooray for us. Everybody who wrote this record with me is my age to 70.
Who was
people
70?
In Nashville?
Jimmy Webb?
Old country writers in Nashville writing pop songs.
That's amazing.
Like, there is never a time where you should say, I'm done.
I agree with you.
Ever. Especially you, dude. No one has more drive than you. Nobody on iTunes wants it more than you and I do.
It's kind of you to say, man, and you're just more talented than I am. And that's just hard to deal with. But it keeps me up later.
But if you and I and Jerry got into a room and he was the music part and you and I figured out the lyric and the melody and everything, dude, you could...
I'm dumb enough to think we could do it.
There's a chance that all of a sudden some guy goes like, man, I don't know what that is, but I'll put it on the radio. And then 3 months from now, you won't talk to any of us because you're too big time.
I can't wait for that moment, man. My God. I deserve that moment.
Speaking of not talking to people, I got to ask you about a guy.
Yeah.
There's a guy named, I don't even know how to say his last name, Art
Alexakis.
That's it. I want to tell you my art story.
It's a great face, right?
Everybody's got one.
Here's my art story.
Give me the year. Give me the whole backstory.
Okay, we are in Washington, D.C., headlining at a college, and our opening act is Vertical Horizon.
Loveliest guy, Matt Scannell.
Super great
Great
guys.
songwriters. Actually
Yep.
had a new record worth listening to a year ago. Shout out.
So we're down in the lobby, and there's Art. And Art sees us, and he, I don't know, we are all, everybody's in a group, and he's like, where you guys going? And we said, we're going over the, he's like, oh, who you playing with? And we said Vertical Horizon. He's like, oh, yeah, cool. And he goes, you opening for them? And I was like, no, actually, we're headlining. And he was like, really? And so that's my Art story.
Yeah.
And so, yes, Art, really. We really are. And so then somebody told me that he used to write articles about business and how to do business in this business.
In the business.
And then like 3 weeks later, he was bankrupt. Is this all true? Because I'm asking as a person who doesn't know.
Are you really? Or do you know?
Is he a guy who thinks he knows, but he doesn't know? Because you had a lot of relationships with him. Like you started a tour with him. Is he a easier guy to get along with now than I assume he was back then?
I think there's a little more humility there now. You know, we went through this Summerland thing, which was the original incarnation of what is now Under the Sun, and we had this great tour. We ran around the country, and you know, he's really opinionated about things. You know, and to
But
me,
that can be great, and that's
it
probably
can
why he
be.
won for a long time.
It can be, but it can't be. You know, I don't want to say too much. You know what I'm saying, dude? It's.
I don't know what you're saying.
No, but
Okay,
This
I
is great
know.
radio right now.
the thing is that this is a long race, and
Yep,
but
that's right.
But you know, Art's just very opinionated, and he's never going to back down from what he thinks is right.
That's cool.
That's it. You know,
I love it.
And Art has the assurance that I don't have. So he'll walk into the room. If Kurt Cobain was in here, they'd be colleagues. They're of equal stature.
What?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means that Art. How do I say this?
I get it.
He would see himself as a peer.
Yes.
Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah. That he's just, you know, just I still vibrant force, and he is. And he still writes great music and all that stuff. You know, we had this great tour happen, and at the end of the tour, he goes, you know, I want this to be more like a rock and roll, just hard rock. You know, like not like playing the hits and just like, you know, bands that have like new records and stuff. And I go, well, you can't call it a greatest hits tour and then play all your new stuff. You know, it's kind of hoodwinking the audience. So we kind of went our separate ways. I want this thing to be like Naughty by Nature, Collective Soul,
And you still do it,
and
right?
Vogue.
It's called Under the Sun.
Yeah, it's called On the Sun. We're actually going out Thursday.
How many years have you done it?
Did I answer the Art question? Listen, think about Art I do like the guy.
It sounds like you like him, and you have to keep your distance because a guy like you does have humility, and what you would consider people's highest qualities are not what you would find in a person like Art.
That might be fair to say if you didn't have a negative inflection on it.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Do you know what
let
I'm
me
saying?
let me
Like-
try to rephrase it.
Like Art and I just didn't work. We didn't work as partners. We didn't work. We see things differently, and I am opinionated too, and I'm pretty headstrong on what I want, you know. And I wanted this tour to be a lot bigger and more inclusive. If you had it in the '90s, I'd love to have you aboard because I see Jack Radio. Remember those Jack shows?
Sure.
You ever do any of those?
No.
Like they'd have ZZ Top, Pretenders, Stray Cats,
And then some new stuff.
Lit,
Lit, right.
and Sugar Ray, and we actually played her by Mendelsohn. That's what I saw this could, you know, becoming. And he wanted to be Space Hog, Eve 6, you know, like almost like make it more compartmentalized and smaller. So Art's opinionated. You will get into an argument if you talk to him, but he's pretty fair guy, and he'll tend to see it his way most of the time.
But that's okay. He doesn't sound like a bad guy. He just sounds like a very like a big personality.
He's a big personality.
And that's
Let's
it.
put it that way.
And that's you know, there was a term that someone called me once that I was really offended by
What was it?
because I was writing with somebody and he said, "Yeah, Pat's like an alpha personality.
Alpha
And
dog.
I hate that shit
I hate it
because
too, 'cause it makes you an asshole.
I don't feel like that's what I always thought.
know what I mean?
And then so somebody tried to clear it up, and they were like, no. What that guy meant wasn't that you're an asshole or you need to have it your way. It's more like you're the driving force of the session. Like
Well,
they're
that sounds
gonna,
a lot better.
doesn't it?
I mean, alpha dog to me is a guy that only listens to himself
Man.
and is going to get into scraps and tell people what to do. You
Amen.
know?
It's
right?
it's a derogatory term.
But as far as Art, and this will be my wrap up on him, like
Yeah.
I would love to see Everclear down in the future. I will be happy to share a stage with the guy, but us as partners, it just didn't really work. And I wish him nothing but the best. And the good news is Summerland is coexisting with Under the Soar, and to each his own.
I think it's perfect because with your personality, like I don't really know him.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories
Yeah,
about him.
I have too.
And so I just can't imagine that this wasn't inevitable that you would go your own way, and I'm glad that you did. I think it's awesome. But I
Thanks,
think
Bob.
Everclear is an awesome band.
They wrote
I
some great
love
songs.
I love their songs. I think that guy's a super talent. And if he was sitting there with Kurt Cobain, I would probably talk to Kurt Cobain.
Yeah. Well,
So-
but and he Pet Sounds. You mentioned Pet Sounds. That's one of his favorite records, and so much of the Afterglow opens with a giant multi-layered harmony that Art did as a tribute to Pet Sounds. So go revisit that if you
Wow.
haven't. It's worth listening to.
That's amazing.
Super talented guy and great songs.
Well, before I let you go,
Yeah.
I want to ask you just the
So
thing that
glad
we
you didn't make me sing a lot, Pat. Thank you.
man, your songs
Everybody
are
sings
so
in this
good.
podcast, don't they?
Your songs are so good, man.
Fun riffs, huh?
The greatest thing is to me is like someday when my life has
Pass me by.
dude, just a touch.
Okay. Oh, you got the. Someday, when my life has passed me by, I lay around and wonder why you were always there for me. One way, in the eyes of a passerby, I look around for another try and fade away.
It's so good,
Yeah,
dude.
you were off, dude, but thank you, man.
That song is so good. So the
you know
two
what's great?
things.
It's like those are tone songs, and everybody can sing them in cars, and that's that I don't know. It just people resonate. And Pat, when someone comes up to you and says, "That's the first song my child ever
So
sang,"
big,
it's
right?
Like, then I'm in.
Yeah.
I took more than this world ever.
And then your parents would be just like jacked.
So, and thank God my parents were alive. My dad died a couple years ago. My mom died a year and a half ago. They saw it all.
Yeah,
they got
that's
to be
great.
part of it, and they were always so supportive.
And they got to meet your children.
got to meet the kids.
That's
the whole
great.
thing. So I like I said, this life's given me more than I deserve.
Yeah, no, well, not more than you deserve. But so the two things are,
Yeah.
one, I started with Sharknado.
Yeah.
So just tell me a second about that. Yeah, it's Sharknado 2.
Sharknado 2, the second one. That is the actual title.
That's what it's called.
the actual. I mean, would you want to have a creative second title?
funny.
I know. They have a sense of humor.
But
there.
you're like the star of this one, right?
I was watching the first one on a tour bus like everybody else was. I'm tweeting, I'm Facebooking, I'm going, is everybody watching this? This is insane. Forgot about it, laughed about it, part of the vernacular of all my friends like everybody else. Got a call a couple months ago to be in the movie. I go, I'll probably do a quick cameo, I'll get eaten, that's it.
Yeah.
I get the script. Top to bottom, multiple dialogue. I play Ian Ziering's brother-in-law, Martin, and I have all this acting top to bottom. I'm like, have you guys seen me act? This might be a bit of a problem. But I got in there. Sharknado even, exactly, which is not, my left foot.
The second one.
Yeah, the second one. And so I found myself in the middle of Broadway in Manhattan, trading lines with Academy Award nominee Judd Hirsch in a taxi cab.
Whoa!
That's all I got to say. And
That's amazing,
It was
man.
insane, and there were so many great cameos. It was a lot of fun.
And
No-
you know what? And this all comes back to, hey, Al Pacino, go fuck yourself. Right? You know what? I am better than that.
Right?
Thank you.
See you in award season, Mr. Pacino. All right.
He didn't get asked to be in Sharknado.
No, he didn't.
right?
No, he didn't. Maybe number 3. So just to wrap it up,
Yeah.
thank you so much for doing
Pat,
this.
thanks to you guys, everybody.
I
Thank
just
you.
have these few wrap-up questions I like to ask that my wife is always interested in, which is, first of all, is there a tour find that you can tell people about that you wouldn't have found unless you toured the world like you do? Like something, a taco place or a record store or something that maybe not everybody would know about?
Boy, that's tough because I haven't toured the world extensively in a long time. You know.
How about something local?
I will say you can find a great grilled cheese at every Flying J, every truck stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you know, like I've never been an antiquer. I'm the guy that is a hermit in his room for 8 hours before the show.
When you're on tour.
Boom.
Do you
I don't-
stress?
I don't sleep that well on the buses because I don't drink as much as I used to.
So you get
all
in the
night I'm
hotel
up
right
going,
away.
Oh god, we're going way too over sideways. That's me all night with
Yeah.
that anxiety in
Right.
a little tube, and then I get up and I crawl to the hotel and I sleep 9 hours. That's my exciting rock and roll life. So, is there one thing that you've learned? Like, do you have a quick find you could tell me?
Well, I have a lot of them. Like, you know, I live close to Seattle now, but like when I think of the best Mexican food in the world, it's in San Francisco without
it
without
really?
a without
Oh,
a
yeah.
question.
Name the place.
There's
La Corneta. in
Yeah,
Glen Park.
that's like
Better
one.
than L.A.
Yes,
those are
man.
fighting words.
Yes. Yes.
That's incredible.
When you go to the Mission,
Yeah.
you can go where the burrito was invented.
You're not kidding.
Well, I mean that's a little bit of a joke.
Yeah,
but,
well, I'm very gullible.
but no, this is a real. Like you wait in line, there's like chicken feet and shit in your burrito,
didn't
like all
know
kinds
that.
of crazy stuff.
delicious.
You pick it out and you go like, thank you, because I know that you did it in a corn thing. Oh yeah, everything's
What's
crazy.
the name of that place?
Well, there's a whole bunch. Cancun in the Mission is probably the one you're talking
Everything's
about.
great.
Yeah.
anywhere in the Mission.
Who knew? There you go. I
Yeah.
learned something about touring.
And there's a great breakfast place in San Francisco called Dottie's True Blue Cafe.
Where's that
You
at?
have to go there.
I-
Right on Mission.
Is that by the Warfield?
It's very close
all
to the
close.
Warfield.
It's all
Yeah.
down. Downtown.
Recommended us
Yeah.
to go there.
Yep. The True Blue Cafe. What else you got? You got something for me or not?
Probably not.
Where'd you eat in Newport
Probably not.
Beach?
Where in Newport Beach? A restaurant. Great place down there on Coast Highway, A Restaurant, which was a place that I got involved in years ago with Mike Ness from Social D, the guy that started Hurley, Bob Hurley.
So you have a restaurant there?
I did. I sold my interest in it because I never got down there anymore. You know?
Oh,
And
okay.
it did so well. And
Right.
restaurant investments are always such a great idea that we actually made some money. I'm like, get the hell out of here. I got twins now. You know what I mean? Those county fairs ain't paying what they used to. So I said, I'm going to pull my money out of that little investment there. But it's a great place still. And,
Yeah.
you know, you're running into everybody down there. My best friend, McGee, who's the director, did a bunch of videos, did all our videos. Did all Smash Mouth.
He's
all
your best
Offspring.
friend.
40 years, my best friend.
Oh, that's so
He's
cool.
kind of like the fifth member of Sugar Ray,
Oh,
which is
that's
pretty
nice.
embarrassing thing to say.
And how about Wahoo in
Wahoo's.
Southern California?
Wow, is that up north yet?
Fish tacos? I've never had that.
We don't have it.
Anywhere.
The world's greatest
I've
fish
never
tacos.
had it even this north in LA. I've only had it in Orange County.
I think Wahoo's
San
is,
Diego.
if you are afraid of a fish taco, is the place. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the
Black beans are
the
amazing.
Nobu of sushi. It's
That's
a nice
right.
intro into fish tacos because watch out getting those from food carts.
I'm with you. What are you a fan of currently? Some TV thing or a band or?
I saw True Detective, and that was unbelievable. I love that. I was late to the Mad Men train, which I love.
Yeah.
House of Cards, obsessed by it.
I hear that Orange is the New Black is
It's great.
crazy good.
It's great. Me and my wife can never watch anything. She's the housewives thing all day watching that. I'm watching 48 Hours in Dateline. She looks at me the other day and she goes, "Are you trying to learn how to kill me?"
Yeah.
I go, "No, I'm just trying to learn how to get away with it."
No, I know how to do that.
Yeah, no, that's the easy part.
That's the first 48.
But
right?
Orange is the New Black, bro, Pat. If you have not seen that,
That's the way to go.
It's so good. And someone on the top 10 of TV shows, these shows are all listed, and Veep is on there. I've never seen Veep, and people say Veep's the greatest thing
Real
of all
funny,
time.
yeah.
I don't buy in the Julie Louis Dreyfus, whatever the hell. I just haven't yet. I like the Seinfeld Collective as a collective. Individually, hasn't seen it, but I'm going to have to invest in Veep. And band-wise, Bastille I like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I thought St. Vincent, I saw them on Saturday Night Live.
She was great.
Amazing.
She was great.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't see her.
I'm on Saturday Night Live and I'm going, I'm hearing a band now for the first time I've never heard of, which
cool.
was strange. Saturday Night Live, I mean, music is that now, let's
That's
be
great.
honest. So I thought they were really cool.
Who was
And
she the guitar player from?
She's been around for a while. She's got like 4 solo records.
she had like a record deal or something,
she was in
right?
a band before.
Well, I think she did a record with David Byrne.
Okay.
But I don't know what band she was in.
And then
Nice.
this new band, Maroon 5, I think it's going to be pretty big.
Yeah. I think
I was
so.
touring with them.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, how was touring with them?
Well, I mean,
It was great, man.
who opened that show?
We would take turns.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, but Gavin DeGraw and Matt Nathanson took the.
That is a hell of a bill.
Well,
Talk about nice guys.
It wasn't all 4 of
Matt
them.
Nathanson?
Matt Nathanson's one of my best.
It's
Well,
the
he's one of
s-
my best music friends.
One of the sweetest guys I have ever met. He's such a nice guy, man.
Yeah, Gavin's a good dude. So the last 2 things. What's next for you? What's next for Sugar Ray?
Well, we'll do the tour. We start that on. I'm not sure when you get when you run these. When do you guys put these podcasts up?
It just depends on when Pergo decides you're worthy.
Got it. So this will be on next summer. No, this will be on.
It would probably be up soon to support if you're going to start this tour.
Yeah, I mean, we start the tour. Sharknado premieres July 30th.
Oh, great.
I know it's like, I can't wait to see that. Thing is, watch it during the premiere because what moved this movie and what made it into the social lexicon was the social media aspect of it. They make 1 million of these shark movies. No one cares. Sharknado worked because the social media aspect of it and because Ian Ziering thinks he's John McClane from Die Hard. You know, he's so earnest. He never winks at the camera. He takes it so seriously. I remember the first day I was going there to say hello and just meet him and say, hey, bro, thanks for having me. I was about to knock on the trailer and I hear a, and I look at the production assistant and he goes, I think he's getting into character. And I went, wow.
Did he
That's how
play
we
a
do it.
shark?
That's how. No, he's our leader, our fearless leader. So I think his earnesty and the social media aspect made it the juggernaut it was and is. So make sure you watch that on the premiere night because that's what makes it fun. And then I'm going in the studio. I'm doing a Mark McGrath record on iTunes. God darn it! Actually, an EP. Could put 4 songs out. We've got 2 written, 2 to go, and we're gonna write them this summer. And then I'm gonna open for Train next summer on their Empire tour.
I love that.
There you go.
And then how
Spread your love
can
implied.
people reach out to you and find out about your tour and everything else?
Absolutely. You can go to, hit me up on Twitter, Mark_McGrath.
No. I mean, like, is there a phone number?
Yeah. 310.
So it's markmcgrath.com, right?
Yeah, markmcgrath.com. Hit me up. That's my website. But I'm fully active on Twitter.
And so if they want to find out Sugar Ray dates, they would go to your website?
Go to my Twitter.
Okay.
Mark_McGrath or my website. There's a Sugar Ray website and a Mark McGrath website. Both have the same information. But, I do a lot of Royal Machine shows and some solo shows here and there. So
Great.
The Mark McGrath thing has the entire world of Mark McGrath, including Sugar Ray.
Well, I would like to finish by saying you're still my favorite person in the music business by miles. And I hope that those people that are trying to steal money from you burn in hell.
Amazing.
I love you, brother. Thanks for having me, you guys. Really, what a pleasure. Thanks for learning the songs and everything, you guys. You guys are the best.
Thanks, man.
That was Mark McGrath right here on the Patcast, and you heard it from him. Twitter is the best way to reach him, and if you say something mean, he may edit it for content. His handle is at Mark_McGrath. That's McGrath, Mark with a K. And he's currently on the road with the Under the Sun tour. They're in the Northeast right now, and they'll be all over the U.S. the rest of the summer. Check out Sharknado 2, the second one on Sci-Fi. It premieres on July 30, and I know Pergo's going to be watching that because he is a huge nerd. And hit us up on Twitter and Instagram and all that other stuff. Go to patcast.com, your iTunes podcast app, or SoundCloud every week for new episodes of this show. And come check out SaveMeSanFrancisco.com to keep up with what Train is doing and where we are. Go see our new video on YouTube, Angel and Blue Jeans, and come back and hang with us any Monday you like. Next Monday would probably be best because that's the next one we're doing. Thanks for listening. That's it.